blah, blah, blah. So, and then I just sent her another, a reminder this morning. I said, oh, I hope to see you. So if she shows up, her name is Beth, Beth West. So cross your fingers. And if not, maybe she'll come next week. So, but she seemed excited about it.
Okay.
Okay.
Start. Looks like we have, this is what we have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll make do what we have. My wife will be joining us at some point. She will just be an observer today.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and make some president comments real quick, and then we'll turn it over to, I believe it's Neil. You are the Toastmaster today. Very good. All right. Very good. Toastmasters, you are the star of the show. Every one of you, myself and everyone included. And being the star of the show, that means that every role that we have in this group has significance and it has deep meaning. Because if we didn't have all these different meetings roles being taken place, nothing would ever happen. The Toastmaster, as we know, is the director of the meeting. He's the person who facilitates everything that will be transpiring and going on. Then we have the cast of characters, which will also be our table topics and our speaker for the day. And then we get into our general evaluator. And that person will talk about not only the people that are given the evaluations of time and stuff like that, but you think about it, any kind of organization, any sports team requires some kind of feedback to know where we are going and what's going on. Can you imagine a basketball game being facilitated and it did not have a scoreboard? Nobody would know exactly who's winning or what's going on. And that brings us down to some important things we're going to talk about later in the meeting today. Because these roles we have that I just talked about, there are other roles that are behind the scenes that we really desperately need to talk about. Some of these are website management, mechanics of the website design, setting up the meeting agendas on the website, and the Zoom recording. Linda has been working tirelessly on helping us do all this. And later in today, I'll let her announce what she needs to talk about. But we need to really take a close look at what are we doing? How are we going to have these roles managed? Just think about that for a minute. And with that, we're going to turn the program over to our Toastmaster of the day, Mr. Neil Corday.
Thank you, Jeff, and good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters. Excuse me, let me start by going over today's roles. Our timer is Julia, also serving as grammarian. Jean will be doing table topics. Mary with word of the day. John with thought of the day. Our speaker is Linda. Jeff will evaluate Linda's speech. And Sharon signed up for general evaluator. If she does not join us, will somebody volunteer to be general evaluator? Mary, thank you. Let's begin then with today's word of the day from Mary Consoli.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters. Yes, happy Veterans Day. And my word is one that I'm using because of all the Veterans Day music and speeches and subject matter. The word of the day is evocative. Evocative is an adjective. It means bringing strong images, memories, of feelings to mind. And when all the stories and music and everything came about veterans, I remembered my brother who has passed when he came home from serving in the Navy. I was in my late teens, but I remember him coming home and my mother being very happy. So all these today's Veterans Day speeches were evocative about bringing my brother's memory to life. Evocative. That's all I'll say it. Evocative.
Evocative. Evocative.
All right, back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mary. Moving on now to John, please, with today's thought.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters, and happy Veterans Day. And I will say that this is probably a very evocative topic that I'm about to speak about. So as a retired Navy captain who had the privilege of commanding 3 different ships, I've learned a lot about leadership, strategic planning, and what happens when the unexpected hits the fan. You see, the Navy, we have a phrase for almost everything. But one of the most critical principles I learned, both on the bridge of a destroyer and on the factory floor, is the power of the pause. When the fire alarm blares, or the engine hiccups, or a microphone suddenly cuts out, a situation that I'm sure many of us all know too well, the natural human instinct is to act immediately. But what sets a true leader apart is their ability to hit the mental stop button. In crisis management, we call this taking a tactical breath. It's that half-second moment where you move your brain from fight or flight to observe and decide. It's the difference between sending your most experienced petty officer to fix the wrong broken part and taking a moment to briefly identify the real problem. In Toastmasters, the pause is our superpower. It's the moment before you speak, when your mind checks the structure of your speech. It's the intentional silence that lets a key point land with the audience. It's the breath you take when you forget your next line, which, trust me, is a much better look than the panicked, high-pitched rambling that comes next. So here's the humorous truth from 30 years in uniform. Your biggest mistake often will be the one you make the fastest. So today, as you lead and as you speak, remember the Navy captain's wisdom, master the pause. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a quiet, confident moment where a plan is born, a ship is steadied, and a great speech transitions from good to unforgettable. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Effective presentation, good food for thought. Moving on now to today's speaker, Linda. Linda, I'm going to ask you to give your own introduction. I don't think I saw any that you might have posted.
I will just go ahead and read it from our agenda, which is very tiny print on my screen. Linda MacDonald, an enthusiastic member of Barnum Square Toastmasters since 2016, currently serves as the Vice President of Education. Beyond nurturing communication and leadership skills within this vibrant community, she is a passionate massage therapist committed to holistic healing. Healing goes beyond the physical body. Today, Linda shares why she is devoting the coming 6 weeks to exploring AI. Thank you for that lovely introduction, Linda. Shall I continue?
Sure.
The title of the speech is Indispensable or Empowered? Indispensable or empowered? Indispensable or empowered? This is evocative of John's mention of the power of the pause. It's time to open up. You know how sometimes a day begins with one vision for the future, and by the end of the day, everything has shifted? Well, that has happened to me this past week. And what I'm going to share with you may spark two very different conversations, both important. First, let's talk about artificial intelligence, or AI. AI is no longer something coming someday. It's here right now. And some people feel fear, some people feel excitement, and most of us are somewhere in the middle, sort of brushing up against it awkwardly and not fully understanding how powerful it is or how we can use it. Until recently, I was oblivious, but curiosity got the better of me. So I attended an event to learn what people are doing with AI today, not in the future. And I realized something shocking. AI is not about technology. It's about giving humans more time to be human. People just like us are using it to simplify their tasks, solve problems, and free up mental energies for what truly matters. After that event, I spoke with my family and clients and friends and discovered they are already using AI, not finding it a threat, but using it as a servant to save time, money, and emotional stress. So I made a decision. I have committed to a 6 weeks AI bootcamp beginning this week. The remaining 5 classes meet on Tuesdays at noon, which is exactly our meeting time. So I will be absent from Barnum Square meetings for the next 5 weeks. Now, I will still support things in the background where I can, but this is also a moment of opportunity. Because this speech isn't really about AI. It's also about our club, and it's about us. I have wondered more than once, what would happen to the club if I were suddenly unavailable? Maybe something dramatic like being kidnapped or dead. But seriously, this is the perfect moment to prove that no one, including me, is indispensable. This is a room full of leaders. Over the next weeks, roles will shift, routines will stretch, people will step into responsibilities that they've never tried before. And that's exactly how leaders are born. So what I'm asking of you is that when something feels messy or uncertain, when a role is still open the day before the meeting, and when you catch yourself thinking, Linda would know what to do with that, pause and say, this is leadership in progress. The club will not just survive the season, it will strengthen, because you will discover your own resourcefulness. And because we will learn together how to build a club that doesn't rely on one person, but grows from many. I'll return to meetings on December 23rd with new tools, more capacity, clear systems, and a calm brain. But the growth that matters most will happen here, in you, in how you show up, how you stretch, and how you choose to lead. So this is not about my absence. It's about your emergence. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Linda. Very encouraging words, all about synergy. Moving now to Gene Pilastro with table topics.
You, Mr. Toastmaster. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm using a microphone that's not in my headset, so I have to make sure that but they're working together. It is Veterans Day, as Mary pointed out, and several folks have pointed out. It is evocative of many feelings and experiences, and that's what our table topics topic will be today. I'm going to, Jeff, did you volunteer? Are you volunteering? You're muted.
Did you by chance receive the email that I sent to you?
I've been working on some other stuff. I did not check my email before the meeting.
Oh,
Let me see. I'm pulling it up right now.
okay.
Okay. Did you want to answer? You want me to answer this now, or do you want to take this offline?
I think we need to have a discussion here.
Okay. So do you want to skip table topics?
Actually, I think Linda and I had kind of talked about fielding some very difficult things that need to be moments we need to talk about.
Okay.
Are you with me on this, Linda?
I am. I'm letting you take the lead.
Okay. Yes. Go ahead. Neil. Can't hear you.
Neil, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Jeff, is it urgent? Does it need to be done now? Or can it be done after table topics?
I tell you what, let's do this. Let's do a short thing of table topics, and then we need to come back. We really, guys, I want to try to put this in your mind. I had a deep conversation with Linda yesterday. Linda does a lot here that most of us don't realize. She does the Zoom. She sets up everything on the meeting agendas. She is about to be away for about 6 weeks. We're about to have a very important person step away. And we have desperately got to come up with, what are we going to do? We need some people to step into this role. She is available for training during the week. I will do what I can, but we've got to step forward and do something. And this is pretty serious stuff. So why don't we go ahead and have a few table topics? Let's have a few laughs, but we need to save some time at the end so we can cover this logistic crisis. And I will put it that way.
A general question. Are there any objections to going over our allotted 1 hour and carrying the meeting beyond 1 p.m.? Julia?
I will not be able to go past 1 p.m.
Okay.
But that doesn't matter. You guys can discuss and let me know what happens.
All right, let's try our best to fit it within the allotted time. Gene, table topics, please.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Let's go right ahead to Julia while she's here with us.
Okay.
Tell us about a veteran that is in your family or someone else that you know.
In my family, my brother Andrew was in the Navy. He entered into the Navy when I was in 7th grade, so right after high school. He wanted to work on submarines, but unfortunately, when he was in Tennessee, he was in a very bad car accident, and we almost lost my brother. Due to having pins and plates and all sorts of other things added to him, he was not able to work on submarines after that. So he was actually on a battleship It was amazing to me because he did travel all around the world. And being in high school, I did enjoy the fact that he would bring me home lots of exotic presents like robes and perfumes and whatever struck his fancy. My dad was actually able to go on a tiger cruise, I believe they called it, with him out around Hawaii. And this was where, yes, this was where the dads could go on the boats with their sons and experience what it was like to be on a battleship. And I remember my dad thought that that was the most amazing thing ever. I believe my brother Andrew had a really good experience in the Navy in spite of that accident, which was horrendous. But he was able to put in his years, and then after that, he went back, married his high school sweetheart, and he did actually go on to graduate from Yale as part of a program specifically for adults going back to college, which was very unusual for Yale to have it. I believe he was in the first class of that. And now he works on technical manuals at Electric Boat. So that's the only experience I really have firsthand with somebody in the armed forces. But that was my brother Andrew. Thank you. Thank you, Jean. Back to you.
Thank you, Julia. Mary. Veterans often tell stories of their time in the service. Do you know any stories like that?
Oh, yes. We have one from my father-in-law. And I said, I could have a story too, because I met my husband when he was in the Army during Vietnam, and I was in nursing school. And so we corresponded back and forth. He was stationed in Fort Hood. So we sent letters back and forth. In fact, one letter I wrote on I didn't have paper or anything, and I wrote it on a roll of toilet paper and mailed it out to him. So, and we still have all those letters. But I want to tell you about a story about my father-in-law. God bless him. He didn't talk about his days. He was in the World War II, and he was over in Tarawa, Guam, and all that. And he used to tell my children, and when they were older, like 4 or 5 and 3, and he's always told them about his stories and how he was about to go on a ship to sign up again, and they called him. His bags and everything were on the ship, and he had a beautiful pair of boots that were custom made for him, and his bag was on the ship, and they wouldn't let him go back and get it. And they said, Consoli, you're off, you're done, you're out of the Marines, you're no longer a Marines. And he used to tell the stories to my children. Now, in his last years, he had dementia, and he was up in the nursing home, and my daughter visited, and he recognized her. One of the, he took a minute, and he said, Julie, he called her the girl. And he was telling the story, and she said, Papa, that's not the right story. So she told him what she had heard all her life. And he looked at her, puzzled, and he put his finger and he says, yeah, right. Back to you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Mary. Keeping this moving along here, John, as a military veteran yourself, we often hear, hurry up and wait. Tell us a little bit about what that meant in the Navy.
Well, thank you very much. And it's an honor to sort of talk about hurry up and wait. So one of the opportunities I had in the Navy was to command USS Baton, LHD-5, which was a big deck amphib. And it carried not only the air wing for the Marines, but it carried a lot of their heavy equipment in the well deck. their tanks and all that kind of stuff. And so when we would deploy, ship's company was about 1,500 people, and the Marines that embarked were about 2,000. So the ship had 3,500 people on it. And when I think about the term hurry up and wait, I always remember sort of that young Marine grunt. And there's two really specific situations that I remember. The first one I remember was we were getting ready for sort of a big all hands call, and that's where everybody gathers for a big speech and put on by the leaders of the group. And one of the way it works in the Marine Corps is everybody has to be there 15 minutes earlier than their boss. So we would have young Marines laying in the hangar bay 2 hours prior to the actual all hands call, because where they were on the sort of food chain, they had to be there almost 6 levels down. So they were there almost 2 hours prior to everybody else. Marines, on board a ship don't have a lot to do. They, pretty much eat and sleep and work out and go to events. And so they would be in line almost 45 minutes to an hour before the ship's door would open up. So always fond memories. God bless their hearts. But when it came to hurry up and wait, I was always very fond of the young Marine in their rucksack. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, John. Yeah, my son was during his MOS training. He told us they ran everywhere and stood in line and waited. Jeff, why do we celebrate Veterans Day on November 11th?
That's a good question. I will advocate. I don't have the word right.
Okay.
Well, we just we need a party. We need another day to celebrate, and they decided that this is the time to celebrate for the veterans. Last Friday morning, I had the rare opportunity to go with my 101-year-old dad to celebrate Veterans Day with one of his grand nieces. She's in the 6th grade. She's 10 years old. So we went to the school on the other side of town. They had a little presentation. Had a guy get up with a trumpet and play taps. They had a little memorial set up for the missing soldier. And they gave away a prize for the oldest veteran there, which my daddy always receives. And then we had cake and ice cream. So I would imagine Veterans Day, why is it on the 11th? I don't know why. I guess Congress decided that was a pretty good day to have it. They're also the ones that decided on Black Friday, too. But we needed a day. We needed another day. Now, here's a question I want everybody to ponder on. Why don't we have Veterans Day on Monday instead of it possibly floating around and being on a Tuesday? That way, everybody could go ahead and enjoy a 3-day weekend without having to keep kiddos out of the school for one extra day. Anyway, just a thought. Back to you, Mr. Tabletop Master.
Thank you, Jeff. Does anybody want to answer the question? Why the 11th? John, I'll bet you know.
Why do we celebrate that?
Yeah, I
John
put
just
it
put it in the chat.
Yeah. It's
I just saw
Yeah.
John's chat. Yeah, John nailed it also. It was the end of World War One, and the day was
Armistice
originally
Day.
called Armistice Day.
On the
Right.
11th? Okay.
Yeah.
But in Armistice
I
Day
gotta
ended,
take this.
it ended exactly on the 11th hour of the 11th day
Hello?
of the.
Hang on, I gotta put my hearing aid on.
All right.
Jeff, why don't you go on and have the more formal discussion?
All right.
Is that it?
That's it. Okay, that's for tabletop. I had a discussion with Linda yesterday, and I guess we're just kind of, Linda, please help me here. We just need to really take a deep look at ourselves. I do. And Linda is going to be away for several weeks. That doesn't mean she's not going to be checking in. But there are roles that she is taking care of that we need to fill. Linda, could you describe to us exactly what we need to do in order to be able to function?
In order to be able to function, we can, as a group, just mumble along the way we have been. My concern is that I do some things in the background which are not known, and most of the time I feel like I don't have time to actually do my Toastmasters speeches, etc., etc. So what I'm thinking that this is a really good time for is, what if I disappeared? Because that's a real concern. We have seen other members who are very valuable disappear, you know, whether they just moved to Florida or died. So I'm not trying to take charge of this, but I am trying to open up the floor that things that have to do with the education, and things that have to do with the website, and things that have to do with the agenda, and things that have to do with communicating, and things that have to do with keeping track of the emails of what the district's doing and what our TI website are doing, is something that could be more cohesive, would be more fun to talk about if people were better informed. I don't know how to suggest doing this, because over the years, I think I've been coming across as bossy or something, which has never been my desire, ever. But I think the only way for this club to really be strong and to be able to educate other new members on what's going on is for people who are in the club to be proactive. And I'd be happy to be supportive. And since it's very hard when there's been something that's repetitive, you just kind of do things by, you know, with expectations are automatic and the actions are automatic, things don't change. But for me, this AI thing is really important. It's important enough for me to actually step back from my noon meetings with Barnum Square and participate in these classes, because I think going forward, in the coming year, AI is going to be more and more a part of our lives. I don't know how Toastmasters is going to deal with it, because Toastmasters does not condone the tools like ChatGPT to create speeches. And yet, this is the direction that our world is going. By 2027, with the rapidity of the growth of AI, it's going to be ubiquitous. So this is 6 weeks. It's not a crisis. I know Jeff feels like it's a crisis. It's not necessarily a crisis. It is an opportunity for us all to grow, me included, in the group, for us to be a group that really operates as Toastmasters within the Toastmaster system, so that when we have guests, they're very clear on what we're doing and why. We know what we're doing and why. That is my take on it. Thank you, Mary.
Yes, I'd like to put my 2 cents in. Everybody should be signing up themselves on the agenda, and we can do that ourselves. And Linda, I suggest, rather than, give us a list of what you've done in the background. And I think people just have to sign up and take the job. And to do that, one of the big things is we need someone that would do the Zoom meeting. Whether that means someone gets a personal Zoom account and we just do it for 40 minutes, because I think that's the 50. I think that's the length of the free one. We can do that. And as a matter of, the assignments, people just have to come on the agenda and sign up. Now, as far as the other jobs that you do behind the scenes, please list them, and then people will have to take them on the roll. And it will be part of our growth, and we can fit it into how we become leaders, as you have suggested, because I have too been in that same situation where it's easy to keep doing the roles over and over, but it's not, doesn't help the club to rely on one person. I can identify with that because I was in that position when I was leaving my union leadership role. So it took a long time to break out and change the system. So I'm familiar with the process, but I think we just need the assignment, whatever the roles are, and people have to come forward and pick one up and learn how to do it.
Linda, do you have anything else you could say? I mean,
I see
Neil has his hand up.
Linda, I think the key question, in your absence, does the agenda page need any attention from week to week, or does it continue to function without any interaction?
So here's a piece of that. If when someone signs up for Toastmaster, they then can change the people who are participating in the roles. And I'd be happy to guide someone, it's not hard, to as to how to do that. You can change the agenda. There are some changes that I'll make with the agenda depending on if we have 2 speakers or 1 speaker, or we're having our business meeting, and so things are in a different order. There are times when we change it, but pretty much it's the same thing. And I will make sure that we have the agenda extending through the new year. But the Toastmaster, whoever signs up for Toastmaster, then will be able to edit the agenda.
But other than that, does it take any other interaction on your part from week to week? The ability to sign in, the ability to access it remains the same, whether you interact or not. Is that true?
That's true.
Okay, good. Thank you.
So does someone, I'm trying to put my head around all this. Does someone need to be trained in the mechanics of setting up as like the administrator on the what happens from week to week, or is this thing just gonna, like Neil said, just gonna automatically happen and populate itself? I'm trying to understand.
The agendas, when you go in to set up agendas, like Jean will go in and sign up for roles in advance. So
Okay.
already done that. So those agendas are already there. If something changes in the meeting, then the agenda will have to be edited. But that is something, and that is something I can show someone how to do. And really, it would be good if people know how to do it. But whoever signs up as Toastmaster then has access to being able to edit the agenda.
Jean has a question.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Linda and I have done that in the past, and then Linda's been carrying the heavy load. I can do some of that. I can, do the website support, send out the agenda and such. I think it falls under the secretary's role anyway. So let me pick that up.
I would like to have a training session with you, Linda, and just kind of be a backup to understand, because I want to understand for myself more of the mechanics of the website and the meeting itself, so that as a president, I just would like to be a little better informed.
Right.
And
So
we can
happy
talk off the call sometime, but I would like to see if I could set a time to maybe meet with you and talk about how all this stuff works.
Sure. The other piece that is more timely is that we need to have someone to be the Zoom master.
Zoom master. Yeah.
To be assigned. And so what I would do would be enter into Zoom before noon, before my class, before the meeting starts. And then whoever is going to be the Zoom master needs to be present with me so I can tag them as the Zoom master for that meeting.
Yeah. Does Toastmasters have their own, like, it's not your Zoom account, it's like a Toastmasters account? No, it's your Zoom account. Okay, I have a pro Zoom account. So if it came down to it, I could also set up meetings through Zoom. Um, I'm not so sure about recording them because I've not gotten that far. I only just got the account like maybe a month or two ago. Um, but I mean, we could always try it and then delete it and then see what happens. Um, but yeah, I mean, if we need to, I can use my Zoom account for the sign up for the meetings.
Which would mean notifying everyone who is on the current list for this account that there's a different link for signing up for the Zoom meeting. And they
You
should
wouldn't
website.
Well,
you would just put it onto the website, the link you click to get into the Zoom meeting?
So I put it into the website, but not everyone goes through the website every time to get into the meeting. I just click on my personal Zoom link and boom, I'm in. And I think most everybody else in the meeting is doing that as well.
Really?
Yeah.
I go through the website.
I go through the website.
Yeah, I saw you and Julia and John went through the website today, but Mary,
Yeah, I always go through the link at the website. Yeah.
yeah, so that would be one way, and I guess that would be a way of if we were using yours, we would change the link on the website, and then everyone would just have to know to go to that link. And if
I
you
also do it. I do it through an email, Linda, that you used to send. But there's one that remains saved, and it's got a link that says "Join the Zoom meeting,"
right,
and that works for me every time.
right,
I
that's your
use the same one.
makes you show up just
Oh.
that.
All right, then maybe it's better to just do it and pass it over to the next person rather than changing the whole account.
So what I'm thinking is that this is 6 weeks, and I haven't died, and I haven't been kidnapped. That
Not yet.
but there is that eventuality. So
It could happen tomorrow.
I know. So this is a chance to sort of break into what are all the pieces so that everybody is empowered to be a leader if they need to step up to different parts of the club. But if I could, Julia, you're usually on early. Why don't I just check in with you, assign you Zoom master, and that'll work
Yep.
for a couple weeks until we figure out something more glorious.
That's fine.
Okay.
We have a solution then.
Yeah.
Coming up with one here.
Is there any, Jeff, anything else that needs to be discussed in this regard?
I think Gene had a question here.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say that one other thing I do is I create a weekly event for the Toastmasters meeting. And I paste the email into the body of the event, and then all you do is open up my calendar, click on the event, click on the link, whether it's on my computer or on the on my phone. It's in the calendar event on my calendar. It's another way to do it.
One of the things I was thinking about, sorry, Jeff, is if we have guests and how do they, if we're inviting them and they go to the website, how do they get on?
They get and then they
If
have
you-
for as long as we have meetings listed on the Zoom website, they can come into any meetings after they sign up.
Okay,
That mechanism will not change, right?
Okay. I do have one question, and I'm not trying to throw a wrench in this thing, but we're using Linda's account. I'm not saying make changes right now. I think I brought this up before and talked about it. Are there free options out there, Microsoft Teams or stuff like that, that we could be studying of possibly using that wouldn't cost anything? I don't know.
I know the Zoom has one, but it's only 40 minutes. So Linda's going, and we've been using Linda for years, and we pay her, the fee she's been charging us is $100 to cover the use of her Zoom account. And that's what we've agreed to way back when we do our agenda, when we make up our budget, we renew that each year. So that's what we've been doing for at least 5 or 6 years, right, Linda?
Right.
So,
The amount that Zoom charges has gone up, so we didn't start off there, but yes, that is true. I've been reimbursed. And,
I'm just asking
and
if we,
as far as other options, one of the wonderful things about AI is I can ask those questions of people who do these things.
wow, incredible.
well, sure, I don't know if District 53 has their own Zoom, to see like that. Maybe we could ask that question to
Yeah.
see what they do. Do they have their own account that we can use as part of District 53?
And Sherry was saying something about through Toastmasters we could get a discount, but I don't know how that works. And I was hoping she'd be here today so we could pursue that a little bit, but I'll check with her.
Jeff, in your opinion, have we solved the immediate question? Is it okay to move on?
Please, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. A fruitful discussion for sure.
I think
Thank
we've
you.
had some good discussions here. Thank you.
Going on next to evaluations, and Mary has agreed to be the general evaluator. Mary, to you.
Yes, well, I think that, it was due to everybody's flexibility, we got the solved, and I'm glad we had our table topics. I think we have to do that, and it was these are important decisions that had to be made, but I think it could have been done a little later, but they're done and it's over with. And now I want to go to the evaluator for Linda's speech. So I'll turn that over to the evaluator. I believe that's Jeff.
Linda, your speech was most likely one of the best I've heard in a long time. You talked about AI. You talked it with passion. I could feel emotions. You gave reason why you wanted to do what you want to do. You gave us buy-in because you let us know how it could be of value to us when you return with all this information. Your eye contact was pretty good. There could be some improvement on it, but overall, I thought you did a good job on that. Your hand gestures, it's hard on being online with hand gestures. I am at words, I'm a loss. I'm trying to come up with some positive critique on what you could do to improve. And I'm at a loss because I was very impressed with how you emotionally came through with this, and you communicated with us. I felt like the message was delivered. Why you want to do this, what's going on, and what really is in for us at the end of it. Thank you. It was an extraordinary speech. And I'm still trying. I'm just going to have to sit down and think for a while. What in the world could you have done differently to improve? Just keep being Linda. You're doing a good job. And we look forward to seeing you back from your adventures.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you very much for your evaluation. Now we're going to our roles to start with, and we're going to start with the timer role.
Okay, so that's me. For timing, Linda, your speech, I did not know what you were going for, but you clocked in at 4:25, which is why you didn't have a green light, because I didn't know if you were going for 5. So, but 4:25. For table topics, Mary, you are at 2:13. John, you are at 1:57. I was at 2:31. I was way over. And Jeff, you were at 154. And back to you, Mary.
Thank you. Thank you. And was there a timing for the evaluation?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was listening.
No, that's all right. Not a problem. Not a problem. Now we'll go for the grammarian role.
Hold on, I'm just making a note to myself. Okay. For the grammarian, I did not have much of a chance to hear everybody today, but those I heard, I would say in general, the word that kept coming to me was hesitating. John, I felt like there was some reading going on, there was some swaying going on, and it was more casual than I think I've heard you speak, which I don't know if that's a here or there, but it was more like kind of stuff, got in short and form. So it was less formal. And there was a few ahs, but nothing crazy. Linda, I felt the same way. I felt it was a very good speech. No ahs and ums. That was very clean. But as far as awkward use of language, there was just some points where there were pauses where I was unsure if they were pauses or did you lose where you are. So if they were pauses, make them more deliberate. Mary, lots of ahs and ums today, and a lot of all that. And that's about it. That's all I really got to hear today. All right. Otherwise, that's my report. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you. Thank you. Now I'll go to the word master, which is myself. The word was evocative. John, Linda, and Jean said it. So if there's anybody I missed, let me know.
Yep.
Now we'll go back to you, Mr. Toastmaster. We just left for a minute.
I think our Toastmaster may have disappeared.
He probably
Oh,
just stepped
he's coming back.
in.
There he is.
Okay, it's back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mary. Comes now the end of the formal part of the meeting. Before we end, any announcements, any comments, any further concerns?
Yes.
Who did I hear?
Jeff.
Yes, Jeff, please.
Yeah, please, we need to talk about the roles for next week. And Linda, do you have a list of them? Does somebody have a list of it already? I do not. You do, Jean?
I do.
Yes.
Yeah, who's already done it?
Jean, next week. I'll be glad to sign up for a speech if there's a slot.
My agenda thing is scrolling. Okay, but I'll write notes. Here we go.
So
Got you. Speech.
But you know, if we want to get into practice, you could go right from this meeting, go right to the agenda and sign up yourself, into the speech. But we can do, rather than do it this way, but we can do it now while we're here. But because I don't know what I will be doing, so I'm not going to sign up for anything I have to see. So I'll sign up for what's open.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, folks, the question is it necessary to do this now? Rather than Mary suggested, we all have access to the agenda. We could go in there anytime and sign up.
Well, we have.
What do we think about that? Pardon me?
We have 5 minutes. Why not?
5
it
minutes.
might be you. It
Historically,
might be useful. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jean. Historically, the only person who has actually signed up in advance, and I count myself out because I always think I should wait till last because I'm have access. But Jean's really the only person who has been really good about signing up in advance. And then we have our beginning of the meeting, these roles aren't filled, let's do something. So a practice that other clubs use is let's use some of the club time to get the roles filled, and then there's still roles left, please sign up.
All right.
However,
Linda, put me down for thought of the day, please.
It just makes things roll better, you know.
Okay. All right.
Looking at it from a president's point of view, it gets kind of crazy on Monday night, and you look at the thing, and you're like, oh no, man.
so Jean's already signed up for thought of the day, Neil. Would you like a different opportunity?
Let me look at the agenda, see what my schedule looks like. I'll sign up for something.
What about Word?
Can we get somebody to commit to Toastmaster before we leave the meeting today? If we do that,
I'll do Toastmaster.
Great.
Neil,
Linda, yes to Word.
Okay, I was gonna say I could switch to Word if you want. If you have a thought you want to do, I can switch to Word.
Would you prefer?
Doesn't matter.
Switch thought to Neil, and then and Jean to Word.
Okay.
Got it.
very good.
I'll do that right now.
Anybody else?
Mine is super slow, but I will go on later on today and sign up for the next few weeks.
Okay, wonderful. And if you've been looking at your projects, your level projects, there is a list of the roles that you're expected to have filled during the time of working on a particular level. So you might want to use that as a guide. I think Mary did that, right? Okay.
I have one more agenda comment. In 2 weeks, I'm doing my final speech for my level 5 of visionary communicator. So that speech is 18 to 22 minutes long. So I probably need to be thinking about who would be willing to do the evaluation speech of that level, that length. So feel free to go in and sign up for it, but I just wanted to put that out there. It's not a typical evaluation.
So Jean, I'm going to modify.
What's that date?
2 weeks from today.
Okay.
And I will change the agenda to reflect that length of time, and there will be only one speaker.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of time right there. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right, cool.
Okay, so that means, so I wanted to, one last thing before we leave. So if you're gonna be gone for 6 weeks, then I was gonna suggest a date for our holiday party. Do you want to just make it in January? I do, because that would lead us up to the week before Christmas. I don't know how anybody feels. Or do we want to just do it the first Tuesday in January? Does anybody have an answer, please?
Yeah. No, I like that.
I'm not
Yeah,
going to
okay.
be there either way, so
I know. But if Linda, if we're going to do something in person or not, because you won't be here unless we change.
A thought that I have on January, the Susie Laura Massage where I work in Ridgefield, we do our holiday party in January because the holiday season is otherwise so busy.
That's fine. I just want a yes or no. So we'll just postpone, we'll get it in January, right?
Yeah, we'd be
Okay.
looking at the 6th or the
All right.
13th.
Okay, yes, because that's, if we're going to consider Christmas, there's many other holidays. So we'll just do it in the first week in January because I was going to make a presentation. So I'll just save it and I can just do it later on. And we can choose where we're going to go and we'll just make it January. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else, folks? If not, I have a closing comment about today. It's fitting that we honor and remember veterans today, I did serve. I was an artillery survey specialist, which was all about bringing map coordinates to artillery units. My contribution pales compared to those who saw combat, who came back wounded or worse or not at all. It's evocative of the unfortunate part of the human condition to handle our differences, our international differences, by invading, destroying, and killing. I think there was never a time in human history where there were not multiple armed conflicts going on around the world. And so it's necessary to have armed forces and a Department of Defense, and to hope that we never have to use their most fearful capabilities. Good luck to us all.
Thank
See you
you
next
very
week.
much, Neil, for those memorable, evocative comments.